Hara mai te whānau whetū o nā tupuna e. Hara mai nā manu here e tuarangi e, te whānau onu e. Hara mai ki te whare o aroha, te whare tapu, te whare manaki, ki ronga i te whenua tawhito, te whenua takitaki, te whenua tāra, nau mai, piki mai, hara mai rai, hara mai ki te kaupapa o te rānei, hara mai rai. Pai marire ki ngā tupua me ngā tupuna, ki ko whetuarangi te ārai, ki te ao marama, moi maira, haere atura e. Te heki o te wairu o te kotahitanga, ai o.
What is the next chapter of our evolving human story? Where have we come from, and where are we going as a species? To discover the truth of who we really are, we need to journey back through the mists of time. Were you here on the planet at the time when Earth was known as Tara? Do you carry within your soul the memory of an earlier epoch of Earth's history? This is the story of Tara and Mu, the motherland of humanity upon the Earth. We are now to be advanced in what it is to be a human being, but we must first go back to go forward. This is Ascension.
Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Welcome our friends from across the seas to here, Mana Retreat Centre. We are a family of light and we have come together for this event.
Maki shalakasta na melakoya. Kalisa de sabalako di stoniki. Ako lopiki se di se magolo shidakasa kolashtako. Emesea koshta. With deep respect for the karakia and the welcome, the porphyry. With deep respect to all of you of this land, and with love and greetings to all of you, our soul family from around the world. As you join with us here at Mana Retreat Centre, Mana means purity. Na means strength. We are joining here together in the purity of the heart of which we are, that which we are, to regain our strength, our mana, our na aspect of the mana, so that we might go forth fortified, strengthened, and activated by the light, by the 24 codes of light that will be coming through, transmitted with the support of Saint Germain and the spiritual hierarchy at this event over the next 3 days. I welcome you. Kia ora. Kia ora, as we say here in New Zealand. Aotearoa, New Zealand. It's interesting that New Zealand, Zay is a Hebrew word actually that means polarized light. So here in New Zealand, the land of the new light, that we are welcoming you to for Ascension 2020. Because this year, 2020, is the beginning of a very powerful process of change that will take place over the next 13 years. And 13 in itself is a very powerful number. It's not an unlucky number. It's a very powerful number of awakening. So as we begin this process here at Mana, also the place of Tara. Tara means tar, of the DNA, of the genetics, of Ra, the infinite one, the God of all. So in this time of Tara, long ago, many of us, I feel, all of us possibly, were here in this place, on this planet called Tara at that time. Tara holds secrets. Tara holds mystery. Tara holds wisdom within its heart. And so we are gathered here to uncover what that wisdom at the heart of Tara might mean for us. Also, Tara is known in Buddhist teachings as the great mother goddess of the earth. So Tara represents the land, what is coming from within this land, not just New Zealand, this place where we are coming from tonight, but the land of the earth where all of us are a global family of man. And so we welcome you on behalf of Mana, on behalf of Tara, on behalf of New Zealand, Aotearoa. We welcome all of you, our global soul family, to this time together as we discover the story of Alpha Omega and what this might mean for our soul now and going forward into the future. Alpha, Omega, they're letters of the Greek alphabet. Alpha is the first letter. Omega is the last letter. So what we're really talking about tonight is a cycle of soul from the beginning to the end. But we're not ending, we're not going anywhere. This eternal cycle of soul never ends for us. But what is happening is that we are beginning with this ascension process, a new, very profound cycle of soul, where as both human beings, we are being activated to expand beyond what and who we have known ourselves to be. The true human DNA was created with a 12-stranded code. But until this time, human beings haven't been able to fully express and expand into this energy. What this really means for us now is that in order for us to step forward to do what we have been uniquely and individually called to do as part of this new time on earth, we need to go through a process of remembering, of resurrecting and bringing forward and clearing that which has limited us from past time. Maybe from the time of Tara, but certainly from the time of Mu. And then we need to be activated and strengthened by the light of the One, of the infinite all, to move forward into this new expression of our human selves. Because ascension really is about becoming a new type of human being. Same human that we're going to be. We're staying in these bodies, as Jesus Christ said. We're not taking them anywhere, but our bodies are changing. Our bodies are regenerating. Our bodies are becoming stronger, more vital, strengthened by the light. But it's not just our bodies that will change. Our mind will change. The way we can receive and interpret information coming from multidimensional realities is changing. And this is going to give us the capacity to bring forward technological advances, new insights, new ideas to help this planet move forward. Because I know that we will all agree it's in a bit of a sorry shape right now. Both the physical land, Papua New Guinea, with climate change and the way the land and the nature has been decimated and affected over many years. But we are also looking at the future of our world, the future of our earth, and the future for our children and our grandchildren and their children and their grandchildren. And things need to change. And so this year of much change on our planet with COVID-19 has a year of a shaking up of what has been before, a sifting of the sands as we move into another era of the sands of time. See, the sands of time are shaking. We are moving into a new time. And in this new time ahead, this future of our earth, we want to leave good footprints on our land. And so the porphyry that Puawai so very ably expressed, her greeting, this is very sacred to the Maori people, to call you in, to call us all in, so that we might co-create together. The very word porphyry means a coming together into the light, a coming together into the void. And we know that the void is about creation. The void represents the waters of new creation. And so as we enter into this time, into this space here, we are entering the waters of new creation. Some of you will know that I speak languages of light. These are languages of God's new creation. So I'm going to begin now to bring to you, with Saint Germain, a sacred porphyry. This is a porphyry of the stars. And Purwai was bringing a porphyry of the earth and of the sacred lineage of the Maori people of this land and of Mu. So this porphyry is a porphyry, a welcome from the stars to all of you, because we are not alone and we never have been. And if you're at home watching this, maybe sitting by the fire, or if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, it's summer, just put your hand on your heart and feel. It's not about what I say as being truth. Feel within your heart what is your truth, because that's the important thing. So just feel your truth within you. Mikli kushlo says it's a bit of koya. Allah koisidi sadabis kolabalastokulasidi mokashtiasia. And so the words to this are, from the far-flung stars, from the furthest heavens, we greet you. And we're talking here about the 22 galaxies that together create a multi-galactic diamond-shaped grouping in the cosmos. And we'll ask our family here, if you wish to sit, you may. Just sit on the floor. This grouping is like a soul family in the heavens. And so these 22 galaxies together create a diamond-shaped grouping out there in the cosmos. The energy powerhouse or source for this group of 22 galaxies is God, infinite all that is, the energy of the divine creator. In the year 2013, or so, a stargate opened called the Stargate of Aldebaran, which allowed for this energy of a more expanded creative force to come into our galaxy, our Milky Way galaxy. It's this energy which has been the activating force for us as we've gone through, all of us I'm sure would agree, and all of you would agree, we've gone through many changes in the last few years. Put your hand up in this room if you've gone through many changes in the last few years. Yes, because you see, on one level, our soul is being called forth now, because it's the time for our soul to be called forth. And it's the time for all of you who are listening and watching tonight to be called forth, because it's time for us to step forward and be the true, authentic soul beings that we are really, and we know ourselves to be when we can get out of our own way and stop being afraid. So we want to go through this gateway, this portal into the new, so that we can integrate this strength, this mana strength, and stand in that energy through all time. Not just today, not just tomorrow, not just next week, but always through the next alpha to omega cycle of our soul, which is now beginning, you see. So this cycle began for us a very long time ago, in the time of Tara. It began when we, as children of light, came to this planet, not called Earth. And as the children of light, we were not in human bodies. We were more in light bodies form. But we came here to Tara to hold the light here, to hold our light here. But when we first came, we didn't really have to hold much light at all, because it was such a beautiful, lush, verdant, tropical sort of place. And we were just children of light, so we had a good time and we had fun. But over a long period of time, several hundred years, things began to change. Thousands of years, really. Things began to change. And others who rather liked the light of Tara wanted to come here too. But these beings who came here were not aligned with God, the law of one, the infinite all. They were created by the same creator that we were created by, because in God's house there are many mansions. That means that there are many mansion worlds throughout these 22 galaxies. And many of them have life, evolved life on. But as we know on Earth is a place of duality. There's the ones who evolve to the light, and there's the ones who evolve in the opposite direction. So some of the beings who came to Tara were not aligned with the true light of the infinite all. They were separated from that or distanced from that. And in particular, I could talk here of the fallen angels or the fallen angelics, who really were not aligned with the oneness or the unity of all creation. We see this mirrored in people all over our planet, you see. And so what happened over this very long period of time is that the consciousness, the vibration of Tara gradually contracted and condensed. And this happened because of the mindset or the consciousness of those beings on Tara over many hundreds, probably thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, you see. Until the children of light looked up from their play and thought, hey, what's going on here? It doesn't feel like it used to feel. There's something happening to Tara. What can we do about it? They tried to hold the light then. They tried to hold to the memory of the truth. But really, it was too late at that time. The children of light could not stay on Tara. And Tara gradually contracted to become third-dimensional Earth. This was a great experiment by the divine forces, by the divine hierarchy. And they were very worried about what had happened to Earth. But there wasn't much they could do because the existing beings on Earth at that time had generated and descended and contracted, and they didn't have the required genetic code, the DNA, to be actually reached by forces of the light. You see, because we as humans, we have a little connection memory chip, if you like, and this is called the pineal gland in our brain. So we can receive divine information. We can receive divine light through this pineal gland. But the beings, and they weren't human, who existed on Tara all that long time ago, could not. And so there was like a retrogressive evolution. Evolution couldn't proceed in this linear line. Now, I'm not disputing Darwin's theory. Yes, that is completely true. Life on Earth evolved from the waters, you see, from the sea. But the life on Earth that evolved from the sea was after the children of light, who, remember, were not human. So there was another evolution of the Earth that began, no longer Tara. Around 200,000 years ago, give or take a few hundred thousands of years around that time, the Galactic Council of this Milky Way galaxy decided, hey, we're going to do something about this now. So they created a colony on Earth that they called Mu. Mu was a vast landmass in the South Pacific. Mu was actually 3 big areas of land. It was pretty flat. It had plains. It didn't have mountains. It just had hills, rolling hills, and it had beautiful vegetation. And it stretched probably a little bit north of Hawaii down to about Easter Island and Fiji in the Pacific Ocean. But there were 3 lands, and they were quite close together. And it was the Pleiadians from the star system of the Pleiades who were really instrumental in this, because remember, Earth was a third-dimensional planet at that time. It's just shifting now. And the Pleiadians, being fourth-dimensional, were closest in vibration to the Earth's vibration. And so they created colonies on Mu, the first star colonies here. Around 100,000 years ago, it was time to begin to do something to recreate the earth and bring it back to this pristine energy of Tara that it had been in the time of Tara, but also to introduce a new species onto the earth who could be reached by the forces of light, by the forces of divine light. And the species, it was decided, was to be called the human, because the word hue, the sound hue actually means of God. So the human beings were deliberately created. We are a deliberate creation. We didn't evolve like the fishes of the sea. We were deliberately created and seeded upon the earth for the sole reason to advance the earth and to advance ourselves, and in so doing so, to advance all of this galaxy and beyond, all of the 22. So this wonderful human creation is actually an avatar race. But because the earth was vibrating and is, and has just been up until really recently, vibrating in the slower vibrating third dimensional pulsation rhythm, slower, the human creation couldn't be activated by Source, God, infinite light, into its full potential and ability. So within our DNA, there was a lot of space to move, and this is known as junk DNA. Doesn't really appear to have a reason for being, but it does. It's just that it hasn't been switched on to express yet. In this next 13-year time period, much more of our human DNA potential is going to be switched on to express. And the way it's been switched on to express is through the transmission of codes of light. The DNA is like a digital code itself. Digital just means that each letter of our DNA script and the DNA of human beings, our genetic alphabet, has 4 letters. These relate to the nucleic acid codes that then are translated by RNA into amino acids or proteins for the structure of the human body. So the nucleic acid codes are A for adenine, T for thymine, G for guanine, and C for cytosine. And they're arranged in 64 3-letter words called codons. This is what is known as the alphabet of the human species. But it's the alphabet of the human species as it has been until now. What Spirit tell me is that there is a new letter to be introduced into human DNA, word sequencing, to bring our word sequencing, our number of combinations up to 72. Instead of having a 64 light letter grid, we're going to be having a 72 light letter grid. And so what this will mean for us is that our human bodies will change form and be more vitalized, but we will be different, and our mind power capacity will be different and switched on to express to a far greater capacity. This is what Ascension really is all about, the switching on of this far greater capacity of who we truly are as the human race, as human people. And in so doing, we will be empowered to recreate our world, our earth, because we can't do it now. We don't have the tools that we need. But we're getting there. So this is why this 3 days here at Mana, the place of Tara in New Zealand, Aotearoa, I feel is so very important for all of us. And this is why we invited you to join us, our soul family from around the world, so that you too can be part of this process that is going to begin tomorrow with Saint Germain. Saint Germain, as I'm sure many of you will know, is the Kohan, the leader, if you like, of the 7th ray, the violet ray, the purple ray. So Saint Germain is the leader of this ascension process.
bringing the energies, helping to support the changes that we are all going through. And Saint Germain is with me here. Some of you might see him, some of you may not. But you will feel within your heart the truth of what he says. He wants to address you now. Saint Germain has had a number of lifetimes on earth as Merlin, and considered to be Sir Francis Bacon. And in his final time on earth as the Count Saint Germain, or the Comte de Saint Germain in France. And this was in the 18th century. He was known as the Wonder Man of Europe because he never seemed to age. And he just seemed to pop up and appear in place to place without seeming to have travelled there. So Saint Germain comes forth now. Aha! Welcome. I greet you. I am that I am. But remember, as I am, so too are you. Because you are of the oneness of creation, of the one who created, the God of all creation, the energy of all creation. In this time of new beginning, there are many who will come to you to teach you. But really, they are coming not to teach, but to remind you of what you may have forgotten. In this time of new becoming, there are those who may gainsay you. That means to tell you that's stupid, rubbish. But I say to you, do not trust the words, trust the heart and how it feels. You are entering a new time. And as you enter this new time, this portal or gateway to the new, many things about yourself will fade away, be shaken up to fade away. This time on earth that is a time of reset and change for all of the people of this planet is a time where many are thrown into discord, dismay, and chaos. But remember, out of the stirring comes renewal, because what needs to be released will come up for release. So trust this time. Know that you are supported in all ways. Know that you are not alone. Know that we, on all levels of being, this is multigalactic and multidimensional, all beings of light are more expanded than our level of light, is what he's saying. So just put your hand on your heart, he says, because the heart within the body is part of the four sacred forces of creation. In the beginning, with God, with energy of source of all, there is four aspects of creation, just as there are four seasons. There's the stage of the void that we entered into this afternoon here. There is the stage of the firing, the activation, the sparking of something that is to come. There is the stage of the balancing, the consolidation. And then there is the stage of ament, or the fourth stage, which is taking flight and moving into the new.
So here today, it's the first day of this process. So we are in the stage of the void, the waters, where we have all the potentials within us, all the potentials that are to come forward over these next 3-4 days of this time together. But we are just sitting in the void of no thing, in a state of beingness and positive expectation, knowing that all is well. And that we are being taken forward, not by ourselves, not by me, not by Judy, but by forces beyond our ken, our understanding. So he's saying, feel my words, don't think my words. Feel within your heart and your own soul, the essence, and discern with your own intuitive inner truth whether that essence is truth for you. And if truth be of the highest, know that you are called. So spirit, we're really talking here about the councils of light, the God source creation energies at the heart of this multidimensional diamond of 22 galaxies. We are being called now by them, by their unified voice. And all of these 22 galaxies has a specific tonal frequency that is combined together to create a unity, a oneness, just like we are creating a unity or a oneness with our global soul family today. So it's what you feel. It's all about what you feel and what your soul remembers and reconnects to. And whether it's the right time for you to reconnect to this aspect of your own soul's memory. And what you want to do in your personal human life now on the planet and in the years going forward. So they say they are bringing heaven to earth. And as we did earlier with Puruwai, we are bringing earth to the heavens. And we are in the middle. We are the conjunction between heaven and earth. You know, the Maori word for the land, Papatuanuku. It means literally the place of the standing rainbow. All of us with our chakra systems, we have a chakra system with the colours of our chakras. We are the standing rainbows. And we have come to this place of the standing rainbow. We remember that we are the standing rainbows. And that within our standing rainbows is the mana, the strength. And all that is required is to call this out of us, the kauranga. Call this out of us. And so the energy of the words that will be spoken over these next 4 days is to call this energy that we all innately have within our being out of us. And then we will be free to create as people, as individuals, and to co-create together a better future for our planet and Earth's people. That is the important thing. And to help our children and our grandchildren understand this process of change that they are going through, and they are going through it before us really, because they came in, our grandchildren, the little children of the earth, with this knowing and this energy. But they need to remember, they need to be taught the wisdom of Papatuanuku, of the earth, and the wisdom of the stars. And as the stars, the wisdom of the stars and that understanding, that multigalactic understanding of who we really are as God-created beings, needs to be merged with the understanding of safeguarding and husbanding and caring for our earth, our mother on which we live. And our children and our children's children need to be taught this now, this wisdom, because they are the guardians of the future. And as we come together now, and we are preparing ourselves for our own future, we gain a much wider perspective, a wider understanding of the importance of what Saint Germain and the spiritual hierarchy are bringing forth for us all in the anchoring of these 24 codes of light. Because over 3 days, we will be activated, strengthened, and changed so that we may go forth to start the next chapter of our soul and human journey. Saint Germain is with us. The entire spiritual hierarchy is with us. All the star beings are with us. The Council of El So'om at the heart of the diamond, the heart of these 22 galaxies of the multigalactic diamond. They're with us. Lords of Amenti within the earth, the inner earth kingdoms, they're with us. The Devas and the nature spirits of this land, this earth on which we live, they are with us. And here in this place, the place of Tara in Aotearoa, New Zealand, the very special ancestral energies and the guardians of this land that have been here since the beginning of time, since that time of compression and contraction of Tara, they are here with us. And so there is no mistake. We are here at the divine right time. This date in Aotearoa, New Zealand today is the 31st of July, but this energy goes on. It is just the date of its anchoring. It is timeless, and people will come to this energy when they are ready. All of you are here with us today, and we greet you with much love, much araha from our heart. And for me, it's really significant that tomorrow here in New Zealand is the 1st of August. Number 1, new beginning. August 8, the 8th month. 8 is a very powerful and fortunate number. It's also the number of the infinity symbol. And the ultralight energies that are transmitted through the words that I speak are like a whole lot of figure eights on their side, all joined together. Like the DNA is like the DNA, really. And then 2020, the number 20, very auspicious, very important, very special number. So far this year, many of us have been on the planet. We're lucky in New Zealand, but many of us on the planet have been through a lot of challenge, and a lot of fear and anxiety has come up. As we move now in the next 2 to 3 years, these challenges will, in some places, settle down, and in some places get worse. But remember that we are birthing the new. And as we all know, every woman knows that the birth process, and probably their partners as well, the birth process is a bit challenging. But what we get at the end of it is this incredibly beautiful new child. And so we are going through this birth process, a rebirth process, all of us, to give birth to this new child of ourselves, this more expanded version of ourselves, to be more than we have ever known ourselves to be. And this is truth. And I've seen this happen to me in the last few months with my own physical experience and with my own eyes and with my own feelings. And I have gone through this process, so I know what it's like. And it starts with a letting go of fear, anxiety, stress, worry. But sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes when we're letting go of that fear, anxiety, stress, and worry, it comes up into our consciousness. We actually feel the energy, the emotion of that again, because it is energy in motion. It's not energy in motion making us worse than we've been before. It's energy in motion where all that stuff that we don't like, that has limited and sabotaged us, is leaving us. So that energy in motion at the first part of that change can come up to release. But they're telling me right now that I've done a lot of that transmutation for you. You lucky you. So you don't have to go through it in the next few days, because I did it over 2 months and it wasn't that pleasant. So you don't have to go through this. We're going to be taken really quickly through this gateway, through this portal, and into the new aspect of ourselves, into, it's not the end of our new human beingness, it's not the end of those changes, it's the beginning of those changes in 2020. Remember, this process of change is going on over, particularly strongly over 13 years. So this is the 2020 version of how far we can get in 2020, but there's more to come. But we have to do it step by step, you see, because we've been locked down into these old-fashioned sort of human bodies and old-fashioned ways of thinking, because we've taken into ourselves a great deal of what's called karmic miasmic patterning. This is past life experience, the energy residues of the traumatic, the very nasty, the not quite nice past life experiences that we've had in many lifetimes. Even though we've come into new bodies in this particular physical embodiment experience, we still bring in the energy residue memories, the karmic vibrations of this past time, these past times. And we don't necessarily remember the horrible stories that went with them, but when we go through change in particular, when we are called to step out, when we are called to do something that we don't feel that comfortable about, it's like when we're called to come out of our comfort zone, these old patterns of emotion and thought and belief about ourselves play again, you see, and they come up. But the good news is that I am told, that after these 4 days together, today and the next 3 days, we'll be through that. We won't be doing that anymore. We will just be in our new physical bodies and we won't be holding all that stress. And a few people have said to me already, you seem more relaxed. Like, even though you're talking to all these people around the world, you seem more relaxed this time. And I am. And it's quite amazing to me, because I have been always a little bit of a stress cadet, because I think I've had many, many lifetimes where I've tried to hold the light like all of you, and something rather unpleasant's happened to me. And when I was going through the 2 months of physical and consciousness change that I've just been through, I had a really sore neck, and I'm quite sure it was because in some past life I had my head cut off. So all the fear that it was held in the cellular memory of that part of my body was actually releasing. Now I don't have a sore neck at all, and I feel really, really good. And my physical body feels really light, much lighter and more vital than it ever has, really. So I feel that this is what's in store for all of us as we release the old and step into the new. So if you are joining us tonight for this Alpha to Omega story, you're welcome to join us for this entire time together. I want to talk now in particular about what these codes of light actually mean. We talk about the anchoring of the codes of light. We'll just get it on the screen for you all. A code of light. What is a code of light? The human species is being upgraded from its original form of creation. As defined by spirit, a code of light is a sequence of energy, like a sentence or paragraph, that defines and determines a specific new outcome in body, mind, and soul. Anchoring a code of light is the imprinting of a divinely light-coded set of instructions that includes light, energy, tonal resonance, and vibration. This energy opens the time locks within DNA sequencing, so that resequencing and a new upgraded form of expression can occur for body, mind, and soul. So these codes of light are delivered as these very fast energy words of new creation, and they're received at the level of the cellular template and the DNA. And the cells, we've got trillions of cells in our body, and within the nucleus of every cell, there are 2 copies of DNA. We inherit one from our mother and one from our father. But we're all part of a trinity. So we have these 2 copies of DNA, physical DNA within the cells, but we also have an energetic component of that DNA, which I call soul DNA. So who we are is really determined by all 3 aspects of ourselves. It's determined by the ancestral line of the lineage DNA of our mother, and it's determined by the DNA from our father and our father's ancestral line, going back about 7 generations, particularly strongly. And it's determined by all the experiences that we've had on a soul level. Now, what we, up until now, have been mainly tapping into and feeling is the negative experiences that we have had from a soul level. This is the karmic miasmic patterning that I'm talking about, the energy trauma that when we go through change or when we have certain experiences in our life gets triggered to vibrate. And when it gets triggered to vibrate, we feel the same energy that we might have felt, say, 500 years ago. We don't necessarily know the story attached to it, but we feel the energy of fear or loss or anxiety or sadness or whatever even more strongly. Who in this room and who of you at home have you ever had a situation where your reaction to it was out of all context than it should have been? You know what I mean by that? Where you have a very strong reaction to something, more so than other people might have, and other people might even say to you, I don't know why you're reacting to that, it's not that bad. But to you, to us, it is. And it is because we've had that experience before in some other time, in some other place. But one of the reasons we attract that experience back to us is to release it from our repertoire of energy experience, you see. Because the thing about these codes of light that we are bringing through over these next 4 days, the thing about these codes of light is that we can't adequately and properly receive these codes of light into the cellular template of the body and the DNA, right at the DNA, in the nucleus of the cells, if there was a whole lot of blocking of this light, this energy on the way through. And this is why most of us have been through, particularly in 2020, I would say, a lot of clearing, a lot of preparation, which affects us physically. How many of you had physical issues this year? Not pleasant ones. And it affects us emotionally, because our soul knows why we're here. Our soul knows that we are called to be here in this lifetime. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been born in this lifetime. And our soul knows what our mission or our purpose is in this lifetime, like what we've come to do. The thing is, we've brought in all this dross with us as people from these past lives. And this needs to be released from us so that we can fully integrate that light, that divine light that wants to come in us and through us now to trigger the change of us as human people into avatar humans. Because this is the divine right time. This is the time of ascension. And if we are not strong like mana, if we are not heart-centered, loving, kind, compassionate, this energy can't work. So nothing changes. But we wouldn't be here if we were in that category. We're here listening to these words, being, I think, activated by these words, by this energy, because we are meant to be here. And at some time in our soul's past, and certainly before we came into this lifetime, we knew why we were here. We chose to be here. And I guess you could say that my role as Judy is to help all of us step forward to be who we really are, to take on the mantle of our own soul's authenticity, to take on the mantle of our own soul's truth and wisdom, so that we might all do what we have come to do and help each other co-create a new earth on which to live. So that's really why we're here. But we have to step up. We have to get ourselves ready for the task, which is what this program is all about, getting ourselves ready for the task. So to get us ready for the task, the divine hierarchy with Saint Germain want to bring through some energy to begin to prepare us. And you don't have to do anything. You just have to sit with your hand palm up and just be like a sponge and soak up the energy. It will just do what it needs to do. So let's begin. Just sit with your hands palm up. Within the heart, there are 4 chambers within the heart. They're rather like the 4 seasons of earth, spring, summer, autumn, winter, and then the renewal of the spring, summer, autumn, winter. So to renew us, we're beginning first with the physical heart and then the heart chakra, the 4 chambers of the heart, with 4 sacred forces of new creation for our physical heart. To strengthen, and then with our heart chakra expansion to open into love. Mestekulosi de sarkuli, alakalabatakulabatakalassokati, alakalabatakalabatakulabataki, lokadi, zabatakadi, akalakadakadabatakadi sitsi, ozakadabadi sisi, alabatakulukalabatakalukushojalaka, isi de sebalogodi zabatakadui, alabatakalabatakalabatakadi, alakalakalakalakalakalabatakalabataki, o grazia. O grazie, te codassocudi, alla batacolasacudi sacoria, alla calacolabalabatiga sea, la batacatabatigalacso, alla calata cotaet, calabatagassocudi, alla colicadi saculistaka. So this energy is about opening up the energy circuits of the body better so that we can receive these 24 codes of light. Miklisa kolishta kaza la kozi de salaba la koya, e la kazi la koza la gasa riesabadi, o la kodora selustana balaka, e kolokiza da badaka, mati, o kolokiza la kishta sokudi, ala kalabedigola kisiti, e kisiti kosukulusta sokudi, ala kolada kodogazabati. O kolako sokodishtaka, ikisa da kalabatakolokolowadakazrodishti, e klisa da kalasakoti, estasekodashtaka, Matia. So what you might feel is a tingling, like a vibration all through your body. Who's feeling that now here? This is like a quickening. It's like everything's waking up within us for what is to come, like an awakening. Whether you're joining us for the entire event or not, Spirit wants to bring through now a gift, a blessing. And this is a blessing of ease, of good things, of synchronicities happening which are to your advantage, of good things happening, of divine support, like a blessing of divine support. So if it's been a bit rough for you right now, where you live, in your world, this blessing of divine support will shift away the roadblocks and open you to a much better time ahead. Mukali koshle sakolashtuko. Ella koze bedekoze de sanabadia. Okolako salakasakia. Eklika sadashtola badakasia. Okolakasia bishtakuya. Okolakasi kisakasiki. Akalakasakia. Okoko kisa la kasi de koze de shtonabelaka. Matia. These words, Matia, mean you are loved, you are blessed, and so it is. Because nobody should tell us who we are or where we're going or what is ahead. I'm not here to tell you. I'm just here to allow you to feel the truth within you. Feel that truth within you. To remember that life in the body is only a tiny little part of who we are. And when we leave this body, we go to our real home. And then we decide where we want to be after that, to come back to earth or not. But all of us here are here because at one time in our soul's past, we decided to come to earth for this very long cycle of time, whether we were on Tara, and I think most of us were, and we chose to come back to fulfill, to see this mission through to completion. And the mission is one of advancement. It's one of bringing the light of love back to this place that we all love so well. And to start the earth on a new cycle. In doing this Milky Way galaxy goes on a more expanded cycle. Because what Spirit are telling me right now is that the earth is a very special place, whether there are human beings on it or not. The human beings are really created as a divine new guardian race species for this planet. Sadly, many of the human beings have forgotten this fact. But this planet is like a star, a special, beautiful place of Tara. And remember I said at the beginning, this is to do with DNA, it's to do with lineage, it's to do with the lineage of Ra, God, source, or that is the infinite all. So there is something very magical and wonderful here, deep within the earth, that is for us to uncover and find and bring forth, whether it's in the next few days, I'm not sure, but there is something that is very ancient here, that we are the guardians of as the human race. So how vital and important it is then for us to look after this planet. Not only because of climate change or other reasons of pollution, but we are looking after this planet because it is very special among the heavens. It's our home. And as the children of light, when we first came to this place called Tara, we now go back to becoming more expanded beings of light. So many blessings to you, all of you. So I aim to do a Alpha to Omega meditation now. This Alpha to Omega meditation
I will speak. Just shut your eyes. Trust in the process that unfolds. With every ending, there is always a new beginning, because the soul, the life of the soul, is eternal. And as you are an eternal being, you can never die and fade away. The cycle of soul is the conclusion of an old program. But a new program awaits, which is of much greater joy, much greater light, much greater love, and much greater co-creation. To come together in community. The community of all of the aspects of our own physical selves functioning better together as a united being, but also the community of souls and beings coming together Omega means the end. But this new cycle that is beginning now and is to come forth with a new calling into the void will take you far. And they say, open to receive now, open to receive. So this is the calling into the new aspect of ourselves. It's like calling every part of us on a cellular, DNA, human, physical, energy level into a new aspect to express. Just be and relax. Mikli koshlo shadesi samalushlo shtashluko malishlo shalashana malushlo malgudo stuklo soshti lavalashlo shalashlo shadeshluko mushlo shoshti mushlo shashko shishi shokulu shikushi shoko solo shishi sholuko shishi kia Kulu shishi dokishi la shusha yasisi. Shukulu shuisi. Mushula shula 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 stil shuku. Lokuja le shoja la shala shala salukstu. Ilustru. This is a very ancient language I'm speaking now. This is the language of the children of light. And if you resonate with language, this tongue, you were and still are a child of light. This is the language of Tara. Matia. So the energy and the essence of these words is like an awakening. It's like a remembering. It's like a sparking of this new Alpha to Omega cycle of soul. Mishalesha la kalabadaki, Adabadalo Shishita Sukud, Adabadi Shoshoki, Likolo Jidisa Lakoya,
Abadagola sabadakas sukadish to ku. Akadabagola sokolish koshtiki. Atabadakoa. Leakola kisa resolution is ici. Akos sokodiaka. Matia, 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 Matia. You are loved. You are blessed. And so it is. They say, don't worry about the future. They say, we are in charge of Earth's future. All is well. The old has to break down before the new we can break through into the new. There has to be a breakdown. But the breakdown is not within us. The breakdown is within the fabric and the structure of the life and how it is structured on this planet, because it does not work. So in order to move into a new way, there has to be a breakdown to break through. Some of you will know about the Breaking Through program, which I brought forward in the last few months. It is still very relevant, and you can go back to that. It will help you to break through into a release of fear, doubt, and anxiety. And so I say to you now, with great araha, with great love from New Zealand tonight, to all of you, wherever you may be, go well, sleep well, and tomorrow we begin.